So whoever these sons of God are were sexually involved with the daughters of men. And the offspring of those relationships resulted in some, I'm going to say, what appeared to at least be human, mighty folk who were unnaturally powerful people, whose exploits were awesome in the world. Now, I want you to do something for me. I want you to hold here, and I want you to go to 2 Peter, and I want to say chapter 2. Let's see here. 2 Peter chapter 2. And I want just for a moment to look at verse 4. It's a reference to this time. In 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4, the word says, "For God did not spare even the angels who sinned. He threw them into hell in gloomy pits of darkness, where they are being held until the day of judgment." So during the antediluvian period, there were some angels who committed sin. Initially, I was thinking they rebelled against God in heaven and they were kicked out. But we know that demons exist, fallen angels exist in the world today. The flood wouldn't have stopped the angels because they could have lived through the flood. The flood had no impact on them. And so if we're talking about fallen angels, according to 2 Peter, the fallen angels who committed whatever sin they committed are right now in hell or Tartarus, in chains right now. So they did something that other fallen angels didn't do. And so while other fallen angels are still free in the world, these particular angels did something that they didn't, that the other fallen angels didn't do. We can speculate. Matter of fact, I want you to turn to Jude. See if you can find Jude chapter 3. I'm going to see how many of y'all look for Jude chapter 3. Yeah, I'm going to see how many folk looking for Jude chapter 3. Anybody find Jude chapter 3? I'm just checking. In the single chapter of Jude. Listen, if we're going to have a biblical worldview, what's the one thing that we got to do? What is in the Bible? Amen. I hope you get my point. That if we don't know what's there, it certainly can't shape our worldview. And so we got to know our source in order to develop a worldview. I want you to look at Jude, and I want you to look at verse 6. Now what Jude is arguing is our need to defend the faith, because the truth of the matter is we live in a world that has forgotten how God has dealt with sin. And so Jude gives us examples of God's dealing with sin, so that those of us who habitually live in sin should not think that while we are getting by, we're not getting away, that one day the bill is going to come due on all of our sin. And what Jude wants us to do is to defend the faith in such a way that we're able to warn people of what awaits those who refuse to acknowledge the redemptive work of God in Jesus Christ. So look